myself. So I'm the what's called the territory sales manager here for LifeSecure. My territory is essentially the state of Pennsylvania. I also do southern New Jersey. I live just outside of Philadelphia in Bristol, Pennsylvania, but I do travel throughout the state, definitely coming to Harrisburg, where the URL home offices are, on a few times a year. Other than that, I've been in the insurance industry for 20 plus years. And I'm one of those kind of insurance wholesalers that wants to talk to you face to face on the phone. You're never bothering me. You can call me anytime. If I can't answer the phone at that moment, I get back to people not within 24 hours, but as soon as I'm able to get back to you. So having said all of that, I'm going to get into my presentation. It is a long slide deck. It's 64 slides, but many of the slides are pretty quick. So I am just going to go ahead and jump in. Actually, I'm going to start with a poll question that I believe Jackie's going to hit for me. And the poll question is there enrollment periods for ancillary benefits? So let me see here. Where did the poll questions go? All right. I'm going to skip that for the moment, and I'm just going to go into my slides. I'll come back to the poll in a minute. So getting acquainted with LifeSecure. So there's a picture of me in a suit and tie. My contact information. I will be sharing the slide deck with everybody, so you don't necessarily need to be copying anything down. Area code is a local Philadelphia area code. A little bit about LifeSecure. Strong financial company, sell in 48 states. There's only 2 states that we don't sell in. We don't sell in the state of New York, and we don't sell in the state of Florida. We do sell in the other 48 states. Many of our the presentation today is basically going to be Pennsylvania based, but I'm guessing that many of you sell in some other states, and there's some nuances for some of our products in some other states. We do pay our commissions on a weekly basis. Why consider us? Selling solutions around health insurance. You can definitely do one-stop shopping when it comes to your ancillary benefits, and the products can be sold year-round. You definitely can bundle these ancillary benefits with the health insurance, and it definitely makes sure, with your Medicare clientele, they fit. With your ACA clientele, they fit. We also do group/worksite plans as well. So I'm going to jump into our accident plan. Why add an accident plan? It's basically cash benefits to offset, out-of-pocket expenses. Nowadays, so many of the plans on the market are, high deductible plans, and particularly on the ACA side of things. So if you're selling ACA and you're selling, a bronze or a silver plan, you definitely need to be able to offset those high deductibles. So cash benefits to offset those plans. I mean, you can use those cash benefits for all of these things listed here. Definitely deductibles, copays, coinsurance. If you end up needing extra therapy, prescription medications it covers. When someone has an injury, sometimes they're out of work for a while. It can help with rent or mortgage. Pretty much anything that you can think of. Guaranteed issue through age 85. So let me repeat that. It's guaranteed issue. So there's no reason why anybody would ever get turned down for this, because we guarantee it. The issue ages are 18 to 74. If you have people on a family plan, it mirrors the ACA, where you can have the children on the plan through age 26, or pardon me, up until age 26. We have rates for singles, for individuals, individual plus spouse, individual plus children, and individual plus family. And we go by the state where the application is signed. And it is compatible with HSA. So you can pay for this through the HSA. So a way to save a little bit on the tax side of things. 24 coverage on or off the job. There's only really one profession that we don't allow you to have a claim filed, and it's if you're a professional athlete in your sport. So if you're a professional football player and you get injured playing professional football, you're not covered. One other spot that you would not be covered on would be if you get injured while committing a felony. So we're not going to let you commit crimes and then pay you for, getting injured while you're doing that crime. So we're one of the leading providers throughout the country, one of the top 3 carriers, and we try and make the claims process really easy. I've got a claim form I'm going to show you later, not the form, but how easy it is to file claims. Basically, we need the explanation of benefits and the doctor's notes, and if we have those 2 things, the claim gets settled very quickly. And we don't do a schedule of benefits. So you like the big 800-pound, let's call it the 800-pound duck in the room, Aflac. They definitely have accident plans. They're okay plans, but they do a schedule of benefits. So if someone breaks an arm, they just go down the list of benefits, and broken arm, $800. They write you a check for $800. That's not how we do it. If you break your arm, we look at how much how much your bills were, or how much you got charged through that explanation of benefits, and we write you a check for the entire amount up to your benefit bank. So you can choose a benefit bank in $100 increments, starting with a minimum of $2,500 for an individual, as high as $15,000. For couples/families, you can go up to $25,000. And when you're doing the couple/family, the entire benefit can be used for one or all of the family members. I actually have an example of a family plan where somebody got injured in January, and we already wrote them in January we wrote them a check for $25,000. So now their benefit bank was exhausted for the rest of this year, but as you can see on the last line there, it resets on January 1st of every year. So if you get injured in December, we're going to pay you, and then January 1st your benefit bank is back to being full. So here's an example. Lisa breaks her arm. She has a $10,000 annual benefit bank. She's treated in the ER, and she needs surgery. She also needs medications and follow-up visits. The total bill for Lisa is $9,309. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay her the entire amount less the reason we need the EOB, less any amount that is discounted for in-network services. So here's an example of the covered medical services. It says head CT scan 206, X-ray 38. I think we all know that a CT scan costs more than 206, and an X-ray probably costs more than $38. But because she probably went to an in-network provider, that's what the provider was going to pay on those. So that's what we're going to reimburse. We're not going to reimburse the full amount of a CT scan if it's discounted, if that makes sense. So her broken arm and her surgery are $7,600. The ER visit and the hospital services are $1,400. The bill comes to $9,309. She has $1,500 deductible in this example. She has $1,000 coinsurance. So her out-of-pocket expenses for this are going to be $2,500. We're going to write her a check for $9,309, and then obviously she'll pay the $2,500, and she'll have a broken arm, but she'll have an extra $6,800 from this claim that she submits. So it definitely eases the tension of the family when an accident happens. Here are some rates. These are Pennsylvania rates. If you're in other states, they're going to be slightly different. So you can see if you're bundling these with a health insurance plan, it's definitely not outrageous, and it definitely fits in the plan of your people. I have a couple of agents that when they sell this as ACA, they kind of just bundle it with their ACA, and they find out how much the person is able to afford. And as long as they're able to afford, the accident insurance along with the ACA, they just bundle it all together. As far as time limits go, within a week of the accident, you must seek care, and within 30 days of the accident, you got to do these things. You have to have the one family member. You must go seek care and then have a major diagnostic within 30 days, and then you can see up to $750 per major diagnostic per covered person within 30 days. Another nice feature of this particular plan is it has an accidental death benefit. So if you have an in-force accident plan and you or your spouse dies from an accident, you have to die from an accident. You can't die from an accident, from an illness, illness or disease. You do get a $10,000 death benefit. If a child were to die on the plan from an accident, it would be a $5,000 death benefit. So if you have some people that maybe are having issues getting, final expense coverage, this, kind of fits in that vein. It's definitely a plus to the accident plan. So some key features: 1 week to receive initial care for a covered accident in most states. The accidental death benefit of $10,000 for the adults and $5,000 for the children. Chiropractic services are covered, and up to 2 surgeries within 6 months of a covered accident per covered family member per accident. So I was telling you that here's kind of the form of how simple it is to file a claim. You can download the claim form. You can call our 800 number there. And then you see where it says start gathering information. We need the explanation of benefits. We need a copy of all itemized bills. And then we need the medical/doctor's notes and records. Once we have those 3 things, we will pay the claim. The claims are generally paid once we have those 3 things within 10 business days. So it's about 2 weeks for that claim to be paid as long as everything is in order.
Hey, Steve, we have a question.
Yes. Sure.
So the question is from Michael Anderson. He said, if you pay up to the benefit bank when a person has an HSA and the payment exceeds the deductible, does that overage become taxable?
Okay, let me think about this. So he's talking about the payment coming out of the HSA. So as long as you're paying, your premium with HSA money, that's legitimate HSA money, it's going to be taxed, pre-tax. And then the second it gets over that amount, then it's going to be taxable. But I am going to say this, even though I'm an accountant by trade, I'm going to say you're going to have to consult a tax professional just to double check my answer, because those tax laws are changing on a daily basis. So, but it's my understanding that as long as they're within their HSA limits, it's going to be pre-tax. Does that make sense? Hopefully, Mike. And then why don't we do a poll question? Are you able, Jackie? Are you able to throw a poll question up there?
Sure. Which one?
How about the whether there's an annual enrollment period for ancillary benefits?
All right. It's open. We did get a couple answers on this earlier in the presentation.
I asked it at the beginning, and then I tried to put it up there, and I couldn't figure it out. So it's all right. So hopefully the people will re-answer within the poll. All right. So I know I made that a true/false question.
Yes.
And I did. The reason I'm asking that question now is because I had the answer in my accident presentation. So what is everybody saying?
So we've got, it's 50-50 actually. We've got it's changing still. So we've got most people are saying false.
False. Okay, good, because I was going to go back to the slide where it says it. All right, I'm not finding the slide where it says it. Anyways, the answer is false. There is not an annual enrollment period. You can sell these plans year round. So it's like when you're doing an annual review with your clients and you notice that they don't have any of these ancillary benefits, it's a good time to talk about it, even if it's outside of the enrollment period. But if you're, and then of course during your open enrollment / annual enrollment period, it's, you can sell these 365 the whole year. So just remember that you always have an opportunity to sell these products. It's the same as like dental and vision as well. Even though we don't do dental and vision at this time, we're talking about maybe adding those. You can always be talking to your clients about something. You can, whenever you get them on the horn or in front of them. All right, I'm gonna move into hospital indemnity now. Hospital indemnity is a plan that really fits well with, more so on the Medicare side of things than it does on the, non-Medicare, but it still is available for everybody. It definitely, once again, complements the health insurance / Medicare that people are on. It can fill the gaps for even younger clients. We definitely quickly pay cash benefits, once someone's been released from a hospital stay. And then there's some riders that can be added that are around a hospital stay or an emergency room visit. It's guaranteed renewable for life. Issue ages go through age 85. So even if you have, like, let's say that you have somebody on a Medicare supplement plan and they get to that age 80, between 75 and 80 is kind of a sweet spot for people on a supplement plan where those prices start getting really high on the supplement side of things. And you may consider moving them to a Medicare Advantage plan at that moment. If you're moving them to a Medicare Advantage plan, you want to indemnify that hospital stay, because that's one of the biggest fees or co-payments that happen through the Medicare Advantage plans. And that's what hospital indemnity insurance can do. So we also do coverage for if you're in observation at the hospital, which is an important distinction because a lot of people end up in the hospital, they end up in a hospital bed and they weren't quote unquote admitted. They were in for observation. We have coverage for that as well. And then we do have coverage for mental health admission into the hospital. It's treated a little differently, but there's coverage for it. As you can see, age-banded range, once again, application in the signed state. It's HSA compatible, but only for the plan, not for any riders. So if you did add riders, the riders wouldn't be, under the HSA piece of it. And then guaranteed issue opportunities that I'll get into later. There are some simplified underwriting for this plan and my critical illness plan. So how does it work? You can choose your daily benefit between $100 and $900 in $10 increments. There you can see it says guaranteed issue. Now this is the state of Pennsylvania. Guaranteed issue age 64 and a half through 70. So what we're doing is we're guaranteeing issuing it during those Medicare Advantage years when people are getting on the Medicare Advantage plans. If you do beyond age 70, you can still sell it. It's just has simplified underwriting. And I'll get into that in a little bit. And then we also do this on the worksite / group, and it's $310 to $900. And it is guaranteed issue $200 or $300 only on the worksite side of things. You do choose your numbered days of confinement, 3, 6, 10, or 21 in the state of Pennsylvania. Only past day 21, if you have a really long hospital stay, it's $15 a day that you would receive. It's just a Pennsylvania state rule that we had to go up to 30 days for the plan. The days do reset if you've been out of the hospital for 60 days in a row. So you kind of start over after being in the hospital 60 days in a row. But if you get readmitted to the hospital prior to the 60 days, you're still technically on that same hospital stay that you were the first time. So then we're counting your days, the 3, 6, 10, or 21 off of that stay. The number of days in the hospital, there's the $15 up to 31 days of confinement. And of course, it's per covered family member per visit. And multiple hospital stays accumulate towards the day count. Mental health, I mentioned earlier, is covered up to 7 days per year at $150 per day for an inpatient resulting from a mental or a nervous disorder. And these days do not count towards your regular hospital stay. So it's completely separate. We kind of keep it separate if your clients were to end up in the hospital for any mental health reason. Quick example, Sam selects a daily benefit of $500 and he selects 10 days of confinement. He is later hospitalized for 4 days after back surgery. Upon discharge, it's just simple math. 5 days, or pardon me, $500 times the 4 days, we cut him a check for $2,000. It really is that straightforward. Hospital observation, I talked about a little bit earlier. You get up to 6 days of observation per calendar year. Those days do reset on January 6th, and we just pay you your daily benefit amount for those days, but it doesn't count towards your annual days. It counts towards your observation days, not your actual confinement days. So here's a distinction I like to make. They like using Sam here. So Sam experiences an allergic reaction to a plant. He's treated in an observation unit for several hours from mid-morning until about 1 a.m. within a 24-hour period. And then he's just there for observation and then he's released. So this is an important distinction because he might get billed for 2 observation days by the hospital, depending upon how they do their billing. Our plan goes by 24-hour periods. So he would be entitled to 1 observation day, and we would send him a check for $500. On this, notice he got released after midnight the next day, but it's still just 1 day. So we will be counting the hours on the observation, just so you understand. And that can be, can get confusing. So there are a couple of optional riders. You can do a lump sum payout on top of your daily confinement of either $500 or $1,000. If you end up doing outpatient surgery, you can do a $500 or $1,000 benefit for that. Obviously, these riders are going to come at an additional monthly cost. There's a skilled nursing facility or rehab rider. You could either do days 1 through 20 or 21 through 100 at $100 or $200 a day. You could do both. Once again, that's going to make the cost of the plan go up from the rider fee. And then there's an emergency room ambulance rider that we're going to pay $150 for. If you ended up using air transportation for the ambulance, it would be a $500 benefit. And then there is a major diagnosis like a CT scan, an MRI, an EEG for $500 once per calendar year as another rider that is offered. Here's some rates on a $200 plan. Once again, these are Pennsylvania rates. In other states, things are going to be a little different, and we certainly have that conversation when you're selling in other states. In most other states, the guaranteed issue is only 64.5 through 66, not all the way through 70, the way it is in Pennsylvania. We do have a build chart. So if you fall outside of this height and build chart, so if you're only 4'6", how tall you are, you have to be a minimum of 77 and a maximum of 162 pounds If you fall outside of that height and build chart, we're just not going to write you the plan. So here's the height and build chart for all of the heights and weights. So a minimum weight of 77, a maximum weight of 162 for that person that's 4 feet 6 inches tall. I'll go in the middle like someone who's 6 feet tall. If they're under 136 pounds, we won't write it. If they're over 288 pounds, we won't write it. So just something important to understand. Now this is if they're not in the guaranteed issue, once again. And then we do have underwriting. Here's what we call them knockout questions. So it's basically just 4 knockout questions. If you say basically yes to any of these questions and you have to go through the simplified underwriting, we just aren't going to write you the plan or write your client the plan. So it's very straightforward. Either it's just yes or no. So here we go again. Guaranteed issue 64 through 70. Hospital confinement of 3, 6, 10, or 21. Skilled nursing facility rider available. And then, your daily benefit amounts up to 900. The rolling period, confinement periods, once you're out for 60 days, it resets. And then, the simplified underwriting that I was discussing. And then as far as the claims go, very straightforward. 800 number, download the claims forms. You, as the agent, can definitely help your clients submit claims. You can call me and I'll help you submit the claim. It's very straightforward. All right, let's throw another poll question up there. Jackie, why don't you just go ahead and pick any of those poll questions?
Okay.
Before we get into the critical illness.
All right. I selected the poll of what do you write? The Medicare, ACA, and group insurance.
Perfect. Yeah, I love to hear the answer to this. Just give you 30 seconds or so to give us your answer.
Well, the way that the results are coming in right now, a lot of people are writing ACA. That's
Great.
the big one. And then group insurance and Medicare are tied for second.
All right. So ACA, I can't stress enough that the accident plan pairs so well with the ACA plan. And then on the Medicare side, how well the hospital indemnity pairs with the Medicare Advantage plan specifically. And then I have my third plan that I'm going to get into right now, critical illness. A lot of times critical illness plans are known as quote unquote cancer plans, but our critical illness plans do cover a little bit more than just cancer. Once again, these plans are pretty straightforward and easy to talk about and easy for people to understand. At the end, if we have time, I'm going to give you a couple of sales tips on how to work these into your sales presentation, but I'm going to jump into critical illness now. So once again, like our other two plans, complements your health insurance protection, pays a lump sum cash benefit upon the diagnosis of a critical illness, and it helps protect your family's lifestyle and finances. So it's once again, it's simplified underwriting. Issue ages are from 18 through age 70. In some of the other states, there's some nuances to that. It is guaranteed renewable through age 75. So past age 75, no longer, can't have the plan any longer. Once again, children are coverage up to age 26 if you're on a family plan. And then we do a return of premium on this plan. So if you were to die while having this plan in force, we are going to return the premium paid less any benefits that you've received. So it's, kind of a little life insurance plan if you have it for a long time. And then if you do your annual health screen, which is 30 plus different procedures that you have done. As long as you go to your doctor once a year and you bring our form, we're going to basically give you a $50 check every year per person. So it kind of does cover a month of the premium almost, if as long as you do the health screen at least once a year. The benefits range between $5,000 and $50,000. In Jersey, if you're Eddie Mudson in Jersey, it's $4,000 through $48,000. Jersey is a little weird. Another little thing about Jersey, you cannot have a critical illness plan without having a health plan in New Jersey. So I know with all of the things going on in the healthcare world right now, some younger people are doing just ancillary benefits, just accident, just critical illness, maybe just hospital indemnity, and they don't want to pay for a health plan. In New Jersey, you're not allowed to do that with critical illness. You have to have a health plan if you're going to have a critical illness plan, but that's only in the state of New Jersey as far as I know. We do have nicotine, non-nicotine rate structure. Once again, simplified underwriting with 4 questions. They're similar to the hospital indemnity, but not exactly the same. And benefit amounts of $25,000 or more. The screening is just a little bit different. So here is what we cover. And I get a lot of questions. What about this? What about this disease? What about Lou Gehrig's disease? We don't cover Lou Gehrig's disease. What about, this? What about that? Nope. Here it is, right here. Heart attack, stroke, coronary artery disease, invasive cancer, carcinoma in situ, prostate cancer, skin cancer, end-stage renal failure, and major organ failure. And then you can see the percentages that we pay there. A note on the skin cancer, we'll only pay that once per the life. So we'll pay you 5% of your benefit bank if you get a melanoma or other skin cancer, but that's a one-time thing. If it reoccurs, you don't get paid on it twice. And then all the other diseases, if they reoccur, you could get paid up to 50% of the total benefit in the future as long as they haven't reoccurred within the first 12 months. There it is. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So 50% of the benefit payable to the diagnosis for the same disease, as long as the 2 diagnoses are at least 12 months apart. And then in some states, it's there's some nuances there. And then if you do get paid, if you do get diagnosed with a completely separate disease, at least 6 months after the first one, you get paid the full benefit. So as you can see there, it says unlimited lifetime maximum as long as you have the plan. If you're really unhealthy and you get a lot of diseases, I'm not saying anybody wants that, but at least you'd have coverage for it and you would get paid. So there are some pre-existing condition provisions in the plan. So we're not going to pay a benefit for a diagnosis for a specific disease that was diagnosed within 12 months after the policy date and is caused by or contributed by the result of a pre-existing condition. And then we're not going to pay any of these benefits in the first 30 days, and then it's 90 days in some of the states, or 60 days in Alabama there. So it's kind of like dental insurance a little bit, where you have waiting periods because you may know you have cancer, but nobody else knows, and then you go get this plan. The insurance company we have to protect ourselves from that. And I'm sure everybody understands that. Here's some rates for non-nicotine male, through these ages, and then the different benefit amounts there: 5, 10, 25. And then some competitive points. Well, like I said, unlimited lifetime benefit, the return of premium upon death. You get the $50 back a year if you do the health screening. Dependent children are automatically covered for a $25,000 benefit if you don't add them on. And then skin cancer, is amongst the coverages, which a lot of our competitors, it's not. And then no benefit reduction at, as you get to higher ages. So a lot of our competitor plans, if you get to age 65, we're only going to pay you 75%. If you get to age 70, we're only going to pay you 50%, that type of thing. we pay our full range of benefit at all ages. All right, so you've already seen two similar forms to this. It's, very similar to submitting a claim for our other products. Once again, you can help your client submit a claim. I would help them submit a claim. And then you can see up here the covered conditions are those covered conditions. I'm going to read them again. Heart attack, stroke, coronary artery disease, invasive cancer, carcinoma in situ, prostate cancer, end-stage renal failure, major organ failure. So that's it for my three products. Then I'm going to go into a little bit of how easy it is to do business with us. I'm going to just stop here. Is there any questions at this moment, Jackie?
Actually, yes, we have another question.
Perfect.
The question is, what is the rate stability outlook?
Whoa, it sounds like a simple question. That is not a simple question. And, the actuaries in the insurance world who, I'll go way above my pay grade. It's an evolving world out there. And I will say this. So since I've been here, which is a while, the rates have been extremely stable. But as you all know, how the changing political landscape is, particularly with what's going on in the Medicaid world and the ACA world right now, those things are going to have to flush out, which is one of the reasons why I think these products are even going to be even more important than they have been in the past. So I'm giving you a wishy-washy answer. I hate to say it because I'm an accountant by trade, and I remember when I was in my auditing classes, and they said auditing is all about wishy-washy answers because nobody ever wants to put their stamp down and say this is how it is. So they've been stable, but I'm not, I don't have a crystal ball on this one. So it's a good question. I'm sorry I'm giving you kind of a wishy-washy answer. Let's throw another poll question up there.
All right. All right. The poll is, do you prefer live or virtual training?
That's a good question. All right, another couple seconds for everyone to answer. What are we looking like, Jackie?
We're looking almost 50-50.
Okay. That makes sense. I will say this, as the presenter, I prefer live training because you get the immediate feedback and you can see what your audience and what the people that are taking in the information look like. And I think there's more, it's easier for people to ask questions in a live setting. Because like when I'm doing this, it's hard for me to know what you're thinking or what you're doing, but when I can see your faces, it's a little bit easier to understand that. So from a presenter's point of view, I prefer live. I'm happy to do it virtual, of course, because I know it's a little bit easier in today's lifestyle, but I still prefer the live training. Anyways, I'm gonna rock on because we only have about 15 minutes left here. So if you were to get appointed to sell LifeSecure, it's as simple as getting in touch with the URL licensing area. They can get you appointed. It happens very quickly. Our licensing team works with your licensing team, and boom, you're appointed to sell our products. You'll get an email, and you'll get this link here, and then you can sign in. You can see just like any of your portals out there. Once you're logged in, there's a quote calculator, pretty straightforward. There's our three products that you can choose from. You enter the information of your clients, and then you don't have to, but you can email them the quote. You just have to enter the information of your clients. Obviously, your writing information would be in there, and then down here, you just email them the quote, this is what the email looks like when we send them a quote. It'll have your name and your agent, your phone number, your email address in the yellow there. But it's got the LifeSecure logo there. And then once they look at the quote, they literally can apply for it. You don't even need to be in the room with them. They can hit apply now. Obviously, if you're face to face, you can do all this, right with them face to face. Once again, simplicity of doing business. One thing I always like to say is we really stress you can pay with a credit card or a debit card, but this is the preferred method of payment is electronic funds transfer because I'm sure the main reason people cancel our policies is because their credit card expired and then they look at it and they're like, well, what am I paying for? I don't even know what, like 2 years down the road, maybe they haven't used their accident plan. They've been paying $30 a month for this accident plan and they're like, well, I don't use that. I don't need that. So then they don't re-up because their credit card expired and it didn't automatically keep the payment going. So we always want you to do the electronic funds transfer because that's the way to do it. We do not do paper billing. We don't do the checks or anything like that. You can also go via email or text. And once again, very simple process. You can send a text. Here's what the email looks like on the left. Here's what the text looks like on the right. So once again, you've heard me say it. I'm not trying to be a broken record, but really simplicity of doing business with us. You can combine your quotes in one quoting tool. You can do it all in one sitting. Clients can sign the application via text or email. There's never a fee for an application. I know some of the competitors out there actually charge for an application. Doesn't make any sense to me, but they do. Automatic premium payment via ETF or EFT, pardon me. Paperless, all done electronically, fast and easy turnaround times. We do have great agent support. We're relatively a small company, although we're growing. All of our agent support, all of our client support is in the state of Michigan. When they call, they're not going to get someone halfway around the world answering the phone. So, and generally the call is picked up in less than 30 seconds, and you get a live human being. On a rare occasion, if there's some vacations going on and things like that, there may be a little bit of a hold time. But that agent support email address is monitored on a daily basis, and people are answering our phones. So there's my contact information one more time. And once again, I'm going to share the sales deck. Slide deck is going to be sent out, so you'll have all of this. And then why don't we go ahead and throw the last? I think there's one more poll question, and if you can do that one, Jackie.
Yep, there is one more. And it is, do you write ancillary benefits or will you now?
That's the perfect timing for that question, Jackie. I love it.
All right. Well, we are getting some yeses, so that is a good sign.
I love it. So if you're writing or if you have questions about writing, there's my phone number. There's my email address. Call me anytime. If I'm not on another call or doing a training like this, I answer my phone. If I don't pick up, you can text me at that number because it's a cell phone. You can leave me a voicemail. I will call you back as soon as I'm able. And please get with the URL licensing team and get licensed to sell LifeSecure. I'm telling you, we're really easy to do business with, and our plans, we do what we say we're going to do. And I've really enjoyed this presentation. Is there any last questions? Trying to give you a little bit, like whatever my managers like say, I'll give you 10 minutes of your day back unless there's more questions.
As of right now, I am not seeing any additional questions. I do just want to remind everybody that if you are interested, there are a couple handouts next to where our chat is, if you would like to download and look those over, talking a little bit more about the individual, critical illness, and then of course, like Steve said, there'll be a slide deck available And if you need or have any questions, you can reach out to me. I can reach out to Steve, or you can contact him. Whatever you need, we are here for you.
Absolutely. And I know that Jackie recorded this. So not that you want to go back and watch this again. I'm sure you're going to send it out, or it'll be available, on the URL website. But if there's a piece of this that you have questions on, you can always go back and look at it. Or once again, call me, email me. I'm available.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like we are question free. So that was a lot of good information. Thank you so much, Steve. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Steve or myself and my team, and we will make sure that we can get you the answers you're looking for. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.